Welcome to the Esk8 Fix, brought to you by Esk8 Oz, bringing you all the latest Esk8 news, reviews, and interviews. Here's our host and self-proclaimed Esk8 addict, the man helping you get your fix, Craig Taylor.
Well, welcome to Ep.1 Fix. It is epic to start this episode 1. I'm so pumped to be here, and I'm so excited about who's joining us for episode 1. It is a man that shouldn't need to be named. He's an epic rider from the UK, London. He leads all the Ep8 reviews and a lot of the big group rides and stuff over there. It is the man himself, Thomas BBoy Stretch. Here he is. Thomas, welcome.
What's up, Craig? I'm going to say it's the intro looking really, really good. I'm going to say I'm definitely going to improve my quality of my intros going forward. No more countdowns. You have to do something, make a proper intro now going from there. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on the first one. Appreciate it. Just from the UK doing my thing.
Mate, you, as I've said so many times, you've been an inspiration to my skating, someone I've watched for ages, and I thank you. I know that there's a lot of people out there in the community who do watch Thomas and watch Thomas's videos, and I'm going to go, I suppose, straight into who are you, where you're from. Give us a little bit of a little breakdown on Thomas.
I'm just fundamentally, I'm just a rider who loves the sport. Got a lot of things through it. It's helped me in so many ways. My mental health, socially, meeting people, an amazing opportunity to meet people like yourself along the way. I run a lot of Eskate events. Well, PEV, I don't like saying Eskate for it can be a bit secluding at times, but yeah, PEV events, mostly in the London area.
Fix, mate. You can seclude it temporarily.
Yeah, Eskate stuff, PEV stuff, bring everyone together. For events in UK, run a YouTube channel where I kind of share my experiences, do lives, reviews, and like group ride stuff. So bringing everyone together. Other than that, work a full-time day job, and then in my rest of the hours, sit at a computer editing videos.
Those 3 hours you've got, you're editing and recording and writing and.
I'll tell you one thing, behind the scenes, spending all day, I think you get this as well, spending all day at a computer doing work and then spending all day doing YouTube is a drain at times. But it's worth it, like I said, getting the feedback, like so helping people, sharing knowledge and getting more awareness, that makes it all worthwhile. So anyone who does comment on my videos, no matter if you're the same, I appreciate it massively. And if I can make a difference to get one other person riding, which has helped me, then it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It is, and I think from one of the things I know more about now that I've gone and met a huge amount of e-skate riders and so forth, and PEV riders from community rides we do here, that inspiration of other people doing what they do and showing you their wares. I mean, everyone shows off their boards and their gear and what they're riding and what the current ride is because of there's a lot of people exchange boards continuously as well. But that whole ethos of camaraderie and community and everything is what are the things I get out of it. And you mentioned it before about mental health and all the rest of it. And I know I'm not going to bang on about mental health tonight, say, even though I've got I'm donning the hoodie today, if you can see it behind the mic.
Flow State merch,
which is cool, and they're all supporting that. But it's that community, that camaraderie of a single love of just getting out there and just rolling with it is pretty amazing. And I know, Thomas, from you with some of the big rides you've done, and I know you've got shred lights mixed up in rides in the UK and quite a few brands and stuff as well. Give us a bit of a breakdown of how you go about doing some of that, because it really is inspiring for, I suppose, a lot of people in communities.
Yeah, to be honest, it's one of my video ideas I've been kind of, like yourself, put on the wall to do later thing about setting up events, because I suppose the ultimate dream with events and communities in the UK is that I don't have to host anything, and organically there's always rides going on everywhere. But yeah, setting up a ride it's a bit like kind of like the YouTube game in a world. It's a hell of a grind. You can't just set up an event and then expect everyone to turn up. You have to. I'm not saying like anyway I've only got a reputation, but you need to have a reputation of like that you put on events that are inclusive, they're safe, everyone has a good time, no one gets left behind. and I remember my first group ride, no one turned up, one or two people after multiple times posting events, and it's one thing I'd advise people not to get kind of like heart struck, that people are not turning up to your events. It takes time. You need to kind of be known that you're going to host events, people are going to want to join, and then share what you missed of the event. I always say to people, if you should always scout the ride so you know what you're going to go with, to kind of make a map if possible. If you're going to stop somewhere for a charge, maybe a restaurant or whatever, contact the place. Say, look, I'm going to come here with 20, maybe so many people, sell it. We're going to do business with you. We're going to have drinks or food. It's okay if we charge our board, and kind of just, have a plan of action on what you want to do. It's all really good to do things for the moment, but if you can kind of say, we're going to go here, this will go right, this is our speed, and have forefront, then more people are going to join, and then you'll be more and more successful. But I'd always encourage people, I said, don't feel, upset if people don't come initially. People didn't come to mind for a long, long time. And then some of my events I do in London, 30, 40 people turn up, so which is great, because of they know that, oh, you missed this on this one, and preaching, oh, you missed this, hope to see you next one, it's a little bit of a long game, but it was lucky because the last one I did, unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I had a family emergency to go to. But some of the guys I know and trust, who I've gone to rides with, I was like, "Can you take over?" And they stepped up, and it was fine. It was still a success. So it's an investment of time and building that kind of infrastructure to do more and more stuff going forward.
Yeah,
But I definitely want to see more coming.
yeah. I think one of the things you said, and I've got to touch on it really quickly. Knowing where you're going, knowing where your stops are, and touching base with the local people, whether it be a restaurant or a cafe or just a park block or something. If there's someone you should, I suppose, reach out to and just communicate with, it's worth talking to, because I know that different places around the world have different issues with trying to charge. We had a place where we said we're coming for lunch, and they didn't realise that 50 of us went up and 35 people were going to charge their scooters and their PEVs all at once, and we ended up taking down the I think half the kitchen and the eating room or dining room. They had no power, so it is depending on how many people you've got going, and if you are interested in going in a ride, making sure you tick the box "I'm coming," because I know with us we've had 3 people say they're coming, and then 25, 30 people turn up, and it's like, bloody hell, we didn't actually tell people we were going to swamp their cafe with 20, 30, 40 riders all in a minute. So it's a really important thing. But I've got to say, one of the best things I've seen from you, and it's one of the things that the guys at Shredlights, with their new products out at the moment, I give them a bit of a plug here. They've been awesome with sponsoring communities and rides, and getting involved, and making sure that everyone's being safe, especially in night rides as well, which I think is really cool. And I think a lot of the brands should reach out and do a lot more of, if they can, as actually supporting those groups, because those groups continue our riding groups to grow, and also get the word out there. So it's really, it's a big thing.
To be honest, just in relation to transparency, I want to mention is so the sponsorship via Threadlights hasn't actually been massively involved, to be honest. There has been some initially, but
Okay.
my main thing is actually just making awareness on brands and companies I believe in, and then kind of building that repertoire, and having obviously a name behind it helps a little bit. They have done some stuff. Don't get me wrong, Threadlights have always been really good with most, all communities helping people.
Yeah.
But another thing I want to address is like, I've probably done 10, 15 of these events now, and they're not all sponsors of that. But I just like
No.
very, very little of them are actually sponsored. It's not about the whole sponsorship; it's about promoting night riding and supporting companies that I believe in. It's actually along with a UK company called Esk8.shop, and a local guy actually is Tim Wood's shop. Actually, believe it or not, he actually runs that shop, and just
Tim Wood
supporting people.
So just let you
Yeah.
know, Wood is a YouTuber, so follow his channel. Eskate Oz website. If you go down into the preferred YouTubers of Eskate Oz, you'll see his banner in there. So click through and watch some of his videos and give him some love. He does support the community a lot. You are.
He was the first one doing the sponsorship for the first Shredlights riding. The Shredlights actually came from Esk8 shop actually. But yeah, like I said, a lot of time I just like, I don't know if you get this crazy. Some of the brands that you fly the flag for, you're like, oh, you sell out and all this. Actually, no, I literally just fly the flags, stuff that I believe in. So, through like shred lights, lazy rolling, board, whatever that I'm flying the flag for. I truly believe in them, and it's a hard game, the YouTube game. I'm not being paid for this. I've been,
Oh, look, Thomas, I mean, I think I said it in one of my last videos. I've only ever been given one board, which is the Meepo NLS3. That's the
it's
only
a nice
board
board.
I've ever been given, and I love it. And it's, I feel like it's a bit of a gift to get something. Everything else, yes, Baja board has given me discounts, little discounts, and Full Send Electric gave me some discounts on my Hellcat. But it's tit for tat.
Yeah.
Pro quo sort of stuff. You do a little bit of work for them, you get something a little bit cheaper. But again,
Mm.
you might get for a $5,000 board in Australia, you might get a little bit off.
Yeah.
Everything in my Esk8 world I've paid for, and I think a lot of people don't actually get that. They say, "Oh, you're sponsored. You just everything's pro, pro, pro." It actually isn't. I
Mm.
love skating. I love a lot of the boards. There are some boards that I've sort of jumped on and thought this is a heap of crap, and I'm not going to do a video on this. And thank you very much for doing it. But the sponsorship of brands helps the community grow because people get access to those
Yeah,
things
exactly.
given at those events, whether it be T-shirts or stickers or whatever the hell that it is, or caps or. And E-Cruise was massive on that when I was part of E-Cruise as well, and the guys at E-Cruise are still really good. I mean, they go out and do a ride and they get everyone together. They actually put the ride together and the route, but they actually put little signs at all the intersections. So with an arrow
Oh
going,
wow,
go right here, and I think that's
that's clever.
huge, right? And these little yellow signs, half the guys who were down the back of the pack were stealing them after the ride and then taking them home and sticking them in the garage and stuff. So it's kind of a little bit of a token thing as well. But it's some of those, I suppose, other companies that are doing that now. I'm not part of eCruise anymore, but I still believe in some of the stuff they're doing because eCruise started about the eCrew. It's about the people as a priority. So I think it's kind of cool. Getting away from that, let's get back to you, Thomas. Your riding. One of the things I love about you is you love the big riding boards, the big road boards, but you also years ago, one of the things I know you from is your videos on off-road stuff, bindings.
Mm.
Get us into that. Tell us all about that.
Well, I think it's really interesting because I think a good example with Ep.1 is seeing different demographics, who's doing what in which country, whatever they're doing. And I think in the UK demographic, mountain boarding scene is one of the strongest things that we do. We have the heritage of like Tramper in the UK doing those like mountain boarding. They've got a really strong, team behind them. The Bryn brothers, bloody Sonny Dibben, Eamon, they're just untouchable. They're just in a league of their own.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good way, a good unique demographic that UK have with our dirt riding. From the mountain board scene, I've spoken to a lot of guys, and electric mountain boarding has brought back gravity mountain boarding to the main scene. So I
Absolutely.
kind of, yeah. To be honest, I a lot of the time I was London, I'm a UK London rider basically, and mountain boarding is not really for the city really. I used to use it a lot for like technical stuff, my tramper, but before I had a tramper, every time I got one, it was like standing on like a plank of wood that didn't move. It was like a brick, and I rarely ever got on boards. And I was like, "Oh, I really like this," because I was used to my Evolve, the Double King being really carvy stuff. And then I was like, opportunity to go up to Nottingham in UK, met with Ted and the crew at Tramper, who's a very special character. You need to meet, one day, Ted. He's a very unique person, but I love him. And I tried his board, and I was like, wow, with the barrels of early days barrel technology, actually you can whip this thing, and then you can take it places that you wouldn't think to go, and the bindings is basically like, full send. You have to like kind of accept it and then actually accept what the benefits of that are. And bindings, I would love to go back to US with a mountain board with bindings because I feel like it's something that the UK do really, really well. And I think it's a whole different demographic on riding in the PEV scene. Shows you that you can do mad stuff with
Well, I
electric
think one of the guys,
bindings.
the intermediate class, actually he was on a tramper with bindings and he won the
Where's
intermediate.
that?
I'm sure at
Oh,
EskayCon.
oh, the previous year on the
No,
original one.
last year, 2023.
Oh, okay. I did some digging.
I'm pretty. I have to do some digging and go back on that, but I'm pretty sure that he was with bindings on a tramp. Anyway, cut a
Mm.
long story short, I completely agree. And if you notice behind me, my tramp is missing.
Why is your trumpet missing?
It's gone off to get a new battery.
Ah,
So
was it lipo life?
the lipos were gone, and I'm getting some new batteries built by ZFG Eskate down here, who is a mountain board builder down here in Melbourne. He's actually building me a new battery for my tramper. So it's unfortunately it's got the old style monster box, so I'm actually only putting 18 650s in it, but I'm good for about
It's
30 k's.
fine. That's
Um,
what you need.
that's it. So it'll be a little bit lighter than the bigger battery. Whatever. I just want my tramper back, and I don't want to go back to lipos. So this is the safe.
Like lipos make me gag. Honestly,
I agree. Really,
don't get me wrong; they're better for racing and that stuff, which is cool. But nah, it's not. We're talking about 21 700 cells, monocells, all that stuff now. I'm talking about power bricks and balancing cables. God,
Yeah,
that's probably why your battery went bad, isn't it? Surely.
lipos. Well, they were aged and they got a little bit swelly, and then I couldn't get the lid down on the box anymore. So
Oh, yeah, that's a bit concerning.
they had to go. I wasn't willing to put another charge in them just in case. So bye bye lipos. But coming back to, I suppose, Thomas, your riding and so forth, then you went on to the bigger boards and you had the Lacroix, and I suppose it gave you a new appreciation for that longer range.
Yeah, I think when I got so I started off with actually, talk about mental health. You do frivolous purchases. Actually, when I was in my probably worst state, I thought, sod it, I'm going to get myself a Lacroix. Why not? They were obscenely expensive, and nothing else was even close at the time. I got myself the NAS, and I rode the board. Actually, this is a funny story I've never shared with anyone. Actually, so I went out on the NAS, which was 12S6 at the time.
Yep.
It was 2700s. It was before the 21 cells. They were really good stuff. And I went and did a ride, and my battery didn't go down. I thought, oh my god, this is what infinite range is, right? And that was great. And I went for like a 2 hour send. I was like on cloud 9, having a great time. And then my battery just went to 0, and I was like, what the hell was that? Because I don't know why I hadn't read the battery at that point for reading what the battery percentage was. So I was stranded at 2 in the morning, and I had to call a family member to come get me because I couldn't actually.
You had to do a 2 a.m. walk of shame.
Oh, I was just and it started raining. I had a little thing of it's awful. But yeah, I had my NAS, and I tell you what, one thing I think all my Lacroix, the NAS was probably the best one I had, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I bought a lot of Lacroix, man. I bought the NAS, the Lone Star, and the Super Sport. So probably a stupid amount of money over the Lacroix. The thing is, though, the Lacroix for me was a really great board because it was so ridiculously over the top. And I'm a bigger guy, and it's really good for that platform, stuff like that. But another thing I noticed, and I don't know about you, another reason why I wanted to get one is because I saw there was zero content out there for the Lacroix. There was no one making anything for them. And I was like, in the dark here, I thought I'll go buy one. And then I was like, I'm going to share the information about me riding one. And then there's popping up more in the UK, and you started seeing more of them. But the Lacroix was a really, really, really nice board. And the feeling of riding the board, especially the Lone Star, riding the board where you don't have to think about range ever, is a very special feeling. But it weighs an absolute ton. It's an absolute beefy board. But yeah, that was my first introduction into a big board, what I like to say. And for me, like I said, I really love the big boards personally, because I feel like I said this on my live streams recently, Radio Eskate. It was a bit like, if your board does more than you do, then I feel safer, because I'm never going to push the board to the top end of what it can do.
Yep.
But I know it can do more, so that's a safety factor for me.
Yeah, I think that's a really good, I suppose, point of difference for a more experienced rider than as someone who's just getting into the sport. I mean, there's some beautiful entry boards out there now at amazing prices. I can't believe the price tags on some of these, boards, boards, and how good the quality is getting on some of these entry boards is just surreal right now, which is great. But when you get into that top bracket, and I suppose Radium Performance with their new board, The M boards is up there as well with their range and high
Definitely.
quality. You've got the Lacroix. I mean, Cali used to be there, but Cali's got a lot of
They're dipped. Yeah, unfortunately, no longer with us. But yeah,
they're gone, and we won't harp on that. We'll move forward on that. But there are, I mean, even for me, my Baja board is just next level of the performance and the size of the battery, and I'm getting 70 kilometers
just
range.
as a sponsor, don't forget the
Don't
bio board.
forget. Those of you who don't know, from the right of that animal, it is like trying to harness a Tyrannosaurus Rex for a person that's only 5'7".
Yeah, it's a
I don't
tank.
have the physical height and weight to move it around enough, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
it's
For
amazing.
me, I always preach it's the best YouTube rig ever because you can ride everything and be everywhere. It's literally my mobile rig, and that's what I love.
I think you and I spoke about that when we were in Vegas too. You've got the board because you can steer it and drive anywhere, and you don't have to worry about the board because it's going to do what it does while you're filming. That's my bio board. If sorry, my bio board, my Baja board, because it's just perfect for my size and I can move it quickly. I don't have to think about it. It's like second nature. And I can film everybody and everything going on around me, and I just don't have to worry about the board under my feet, which is a bit of a blessing. Other people say, well, if you want to try this board, and it's like, no, I'm film with this one.
Yeah.
I even tried to film on my Hellcat just recently, and I found that was a bit of the same. It was hard to get that film right and actually do everything because I just wasn't concentrating enough. I was always half on the board and half away. Anyway, so going back to you, Thomas, when you moved from the Tramper to those bigger boards, what was your thought process moving you from, I suppose, from the Lacroix and the Cali, because you had the LXR and LR, sorry, and you travelled across the whole of the UK on that. I'll come back to that in a second, but then you moved on to the Bio board. I mean, you reached out to Bio board and said, I want your board. I want you to give me a bit of love, but I want to buy it, and you went down that path. I mean, that's
Well, I'll tell you how I got across it. As a clarification, is obviously I think a lot, and I spoke to a lot of this from Fabi from Onsa as well. Especially his good demographic as a YouTuber, and then obviously running Onsa now.
Yep.
Companies often get that all the time. I run I have an Instagram with 5 followers. Can you send me a free board? Always stuff. Everything. You know what I mean? In combined, and I think it's bad because I feel like people who really grind and want to put the work in. It's really hard. I paid a lot of money for my bio board. To be honest, what actually happened, I had the bio board plutonium. That was the first one I had. And I went, Marcus, I'm not sending this board back. How much is it going to cost me to buy this board? Because, these things are extremely expensive. They really are. And I was like, it happens a lot, actually. A lot of time when I'm like, can I get a board for review? Not to keep, just to review. I really like the things. For me, once again, the bio boards are the same demographic. Like, I didn't see any content out there. And I was like, this board is like the mythical unicorn. There's nothing out there. Like, I really want to get footage of this. All I've got clips of is Marcus doing 100 kilometers an hour down a motorway like a lunatic. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that, but I want to show what this thing can do. And I tried it and I was like, this is unlike anything I've ever ridden before. The acceleration of braking, it just blows everything out of the water. By the way, it's a 2-in-1 board. People don't really know this. You can actually put corkboard wheels on this thing. But yeah, and I reviewed.
I was actually waiting for you to do that in Vegas, but you didn't do it.
I'm not doing that. I actually bought the conversion kit, and I'm not putting this in the streets. It's just too terrifying. I actually can't ride it on streets. I'm not even exaggerating. This isn't like me mucking up. I rode it. If you look at my channel, there's one video of me on the streets just to say it can be done, and I'm slower on streets because I'm too scared to put the power down. I'm not even joking. I can't ride it on the streets. It just terrifies the hell out of me. But yeah, I got the board for review, and I went, Marcus, I have to buy this board. I can't let this board go. Gave me a little bit of a deal to make content for it. But yeah, I spent multiple thousands on this board. I didn't get it, on a whim. But I said, the problem is what I find is because I really want to look at what's possible, the high end demographic stuff. It's normally small companies, and I think it gives the illusion like this board costs 4,000, 5,000, whatever it is.
Yep.
It's a lot of money, definitely gone. But the margins aren't as big as you think because the innovation is so high and the product development is so high, and there is normally a team of 2 or 3 people. You don't mention those names: Lacroix, BioBoard, as well
Radius.
as Radium as well. They're only like 3 or 4 man teams.
Skateboard.
They're not very big at all. Really,
Yep.
not very big. And they mostly people are passion projects. They put a lot of time into it. So just because it's high value doesn't mean they're this high turnover.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a double.
think that and it's probably worth mentioning. You and I have got, I suppose, access to some of these premium board companies, and I don't think many, even YouTubers out there, touch on some of these premium boards as you and I do, because Transite Eduardo is a good friend of mine, and he's a very small team. Him and his couple of other people help him from time to time, but he's nearly a one-man band majority of the time. As you say, bio boards, two or three people. Lazy Rolling looks like a massive organization. Again,
Yeah,
only a few people. Flux was literally one guy, and now I think his family's taken over from him now. Baja Board down here is George and Alessandro. Really, these premium brands are micro companies, and they do. I mean, I've heard myself M boards, and I think Mike's wife said, Maddie said that she gets emails all the time saying, "Can you please send me a board for review?" And it's like, half the time they don't even get the company name right.
Yeah, how can they justify it?
Asking. So it's kind of interesting that, and I suppose a lot of new YouTubers out there need to understand that these companies are very small and their profit margins are really narrow. So they've got to be careful how much. I mean, Defiant Board is another one. What a nice that was in Vegas, beautiful looking board, but again, a small company. And one of your favorites, who I know that you'd probably chop off an arm and give it away for free if you could get a Hoyt. Oh, sorry, there it is. Hang on.
I thought he was going to say someone else, but no, you just got the wound in there a little bit. Got it in there a little bit.
Sorry. But
give
yeah,
up at this point. Just give up.
But no, it's really, I suppose it's interesting to say that these companies are amazing. They make beautiful gear. Their R&D and their engineering and their love and their passion is what makes those boards so special. But they are tiny companies. I mean, they're not an X-Way, they're not a BBoy, they're these other guys who have these big businesses running a volume of product out the door. But that's where that innovation, and I think in your recent interview with Radium Performance, Thomas, which was excellent. So please, if you're on the socials, go back and look at Thomas's channel and have a look at that interview. Really, 3 guys came up with a board, and Liam, I know I've known Liam for a little while, but the amount of time and effort and engineering, 2-3 years to put into development of that board to make it what it is today, and it's really unique, very special, very different. And yeah, great interview. One of the best I've seen for a while, Thomas. So thanks for getting the guys on and doing that. Awesome.
Nice, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Where do we go from here, Thomas? I want to talk about you and Sk8 because I know that you're a mad rider, and one of the things you've always said is you like to see how fast you are up against the YouTubers. Which we didn't get to do, unfortunately.
No, I'm terrified, honestly, because I feel like last year I had a chance to really kind of to put time in, to be like, done. That's it, I'm not going to do it again. It's fine. And then everyone's gone. We're going to train, and then I'm screwed for the next year. Because the thing is, I done like yourself. I got injured because I didn't get out of the way of a stooge board fast enough. That's the thing. But I got into pro. I qualified for pro class, so I take that as a win. So I got my time down, but I couldn't walk for days after, and I had to go rehabilitation again because my knee got done. So yeah, I did that with a busted knee, so I take that. But yeah, the content guys, I was like, yeah, it's got to be. I've got to take out maybe Drew or like you guys or Scott
Fred or something. Yeah,
Fred might be a tricky one, whatever. But I was like, I've got a big enough. My board can do it, but it's just a tank. So it's just corners are going to be an issue. You just got to hold on. But yeah, I was gutted over it, mate. I wanted to do a YouTube race so badly, just because I ain't got to race anyone else. I just got to race other YouTubers. That's all I've got to do.
It would have been really, really funny, but having James in there from Sin City Sk8, I tell you what, he was
God.
on that weekend. He was so fun.
Yeah, he was one of my heroes of Sk8 Con, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, friendship. The guy loves his Sk8, and he's just so passionate. It was awesome to have him around us, and yeah, just I mean, we went into this to Fremont one night and did some crazy stuff. And he came in and supported us, and it was just awesome. Great guy. So after Eskate Con injured, you came back, had to do some rehab again because there was the same you blew out when you had the big crash at your track. Is that the one?
No, it wasn't. It's really pathetic
Oh no,
injury. So
right.
I was doing, so my big crash. I said the same thing on radio and Eskate video because I was, oh, you're the guy who did this, who got done on the Apex Predator. I was like, no, yeah, it was me. But I was just doing bloody longboard dancing, and I twisted my MCL ligament in my knee, and I was out with the most stupid injury ever.
No, what was it? A whole 5 to 8 kilometers an hour?
Oh God, honestly. It's pathetic. And then I was out for ages, and then I went to Esk8 one week, and then I had the same injury again. But yeah, it's fine. To be honest, I think like now I'm just like I don't know where my riding's going this year. I think I want to go back to smaller boards. I think this year, just to go back technical again.
Well, perfect year for shortboards because it seems to be the year 2023 is the year of the mini boards at the moment.
Oh yeah, with like Ec and the tiny boards and stuff like that. There's
some
cool
really
stuff
amazing.
coming.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some really nice mini boards out there and short boards and just commuters and stuff this year. So it's kind of cool. But we've had some big launches this year already. And one of them I'm going to touch on. I know you can't talk too much about it because this probably podcast will come out after your video. But you had a nice little trip just recently.
Oh yeah, no, you can talk about stuff. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been putting on my Instagram anyway. So yeah, I went over to it's not really shortboard, but the next content. I obviously went at the amazing opportunity to go to Switzerland to meet Fabi and the team at Onsra. Literally, YouTubers, cameraman's dream. Just put a camera in any direction, and the footage is dope.
It's still, epic.
But yeah, but the Onsra Valar, it was basically to film the Onsra Valar, which I was really impressed with, like a mountain board slash urban board. It was really good, and it's kind of its own demographic from what I can see. But yeah, we did some really cool stuff there, which I'll be featuring on my channel. Like one of the things we did was we escalate. We did a 3,000-foot Swiss Alp on the board, which was mental. It was quite funny because this is the funny thing. I want everyone to do this. Everyone who's watching the channel, when you're watching a video, obviously you're watching it from what we show you. Think about what we're doing behind it. Is the thing. For example, one of the things I did was took the drone up, done some aerial shots about 1,500 feet, and I was like, cool. But at 1,500 feet, the wind is like Mach 10, so I'm like watching my drone go. I'm like, please don't fly away, please. And like when we're doing group ride footage, when you watch someone, like when I'm filming someone, when I get the whole rig out, it's cool footage, yeah. But think Tom's riding behind him doing 30 with a screen this big, holding a gimbal and getting as close as he can to him without knocking him, and then flying off at 2,000 feet or 3,000 foot off a mountainside and dying. Who's scared of heights, by the way? So I had to follow Fabi at this cliff edge a few times.
Now, to be honest, Thomas, and people out there who are listening and watching this won't be able to understand this. Thomas rides with a full gimbal, with a full mirrorless digital SLR camera. Big Sony unit, and it's huge. I mean, there's only one other person out there that I've seen that rides like you with a setup.
City Surfer, I think, in it.
City Surfer, I've seen do it once, but the guy that I've seen in Australia do it a lot was, and he's done when I've done some Evolve rides, it's Matty. Is filming. I've seen him film in gravel and dirt and on the side of embankments with that camera. And you're like him. I put you in the same filming sort of category. These cameras are big. I'm a lazy filmer. I Insta 360 and GoPros with a big stick and lazy.
Stick life.
Feet and a half to have a camera that's like and a rig that's this big on a handle, trying to keep everything level. But you guys are just next level with your recording, and
it's really good though for like group rides and stuff like that. It's really good fun, and I think that's one of my favorite content is when I do group rides. I'm following people like that. But the irony is, I'm not in it.
Yeah,
it's fine. I haven't got to be in it at all. But the irony is, I'm following people.
They make the best visual video. but they get the least amount of views for some
Yeah,
reason. And
exactly. Yeah,
whole
it's
YouTube
because it's
thing.
not information; it's not knowledge, and I think that's the point.
Yeah,
People use YouTube as a knowledge platform, and I think I need to kind of push the more kind of streamline and that stuff. And I still do the event stuff; it's cool, it's fun to do, but people want the information quick, fast, and get to the answer. So I think maybe that's where hopefully I want to start moving my content towards now is more factual information people get to juice, because I feel like we make content based on what we like to watch, and a lot of the main influencers those days are stuff like Daniel Quam,
yeah.
Deshaun, used to do EUC stuff,
Ronnie.
Ronnie,
Yeah,
and most like cinematic stuff like that. And that's why you still love to watch. So that's probably the reason why it's influenced a lot of my
yeah,
content. But
I agree. I really enjoy those group rides too, Thomas. I'm right on the pack with you. And I think for cinematography, and I think I'm not a real big cinema buff as far as taking the video, but I love to watch it, and I love to watch hours of it. So I will sit there and I'll just a few YouTube videos where I know they're scenic and so forth, and that's what I'm really hoping for the You're Onto a Ride video. One of
yeah, it's got some really cool shots on that
It'll
one.
be awesome, right? So, but I love stringing those together on YouTube and just pressing play and just sitting back and doing stuff in the kitchen and watching it on the TV and I love that.
Mm.
And I
Everyone's
do
got
love,
their own different styles and flavours, and I think that's what's really good about the scene. Everyone's got their own kind of demographic of what they're doing, and it's really interesting what people are coming up with at all times. Like, for example, you obviously doing your new Esk8 chat podcast. You know, I think it's really good to hear. You know, everyone talk. You know, sit there cruising another demographic, more content. You know, I think there's not enough podcasts in the Esk8 community. Yeah, so I think it
there
helps a
isn't, and I think M boards, and hopefully this one will be one of the new ones. But I think the Evolve guys do one, and M boards do one, and I don't think there's many people doing one regularly anymore. So hopefully this one will meet this targets, and hopefully we keep getting good guests in and so forth. But in saying
and
that,
people
Thomas,
want to be involved in it,
that's
comment,
it.
send a
Exactly
message,
right.
and then reach out to on Craig Taylor on his Instagram and get me on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I got to say, Thomas, just recently you've got into the interviewing space for your YouTube channel as well, which has been
Mm.
awesome. And I'm loving the content and loving the interviews and hearing from different people. What inspired you to do that? Just
Once again, like I said, I watch stuff, and I think, you know, what do I enjoy watching? What do I like to do? Like I say, I think the idea of doing live interviews once again connect with the community, the companies, and get kind of building those relationships with, you know, more people and spreading things out. Like we had a couple of guys from SDE Skate come through. We've got a couple of companies as well. Like I said, it's a chance to get some more exposure. Like when I was speaking to, who was I speaking to? Radley boards? Is it Radley? I can't remember. Okay, gets wrong. I'll get all embarrassed now. 1 second. Race boards. That was it. I was speaking to race boards. Like,
over
once
in
again,
WA,
it
Australia,
was in
yep,
that situation. Yeah, animals. Right. I was like, I've interviewed him at EskateCon and I want to get some more exposure. And I think the same thing with radio and stuff like that. I like what these companies are doing, and how can I get more exposure for these independent people who are doing more and more. So that's what the purpose of it. Because for me, I like to sit down, have a cup of coffee, watch an
yep,
hour stream, chill out, watch that. And I think what do I like to do, and where's there a gap in the market that people aren't
absolutely,
doing enough of? So, you know, actually, I don't know if this is out at the time, but I've actually got Jeff from Evolve coming
yep.
for an interview, which will be really, really big one, which will be cool.
That's in. I
So
think I'm recording this. It's in 3 days, but this
yes,
will probably come out probably after that. But we'll
okay,
see how we go.
yeah. But I was like,
Yeah, it's really exciting too.
yeah, it's a really great opportunity. I think it's very wholesome, and I think that's what I'm very grateful for. You know, the opportunities I have, definitely, and it is bloody hard work as well. But I
Yeah,
pinch myself, and I think like a bit. My big example is a bit like at EskateCon when I was doing the pre EskateCon group rider with Joe W, Ahsoka Legend, and a load of other influential people in the community. When I think influential, I think people for me, not just
yeah,
celebrity and stuff. Is
yeah.
like people who I've looked up to for a long, long time and having those wholesome moments with. And I'm very thankful to have these opportunities. But, you know, it is hard. It is through loads of hard work and luck. So the idea that I'd have people like Jeff and these Radium Esk8, working alongside BBoy or Cali. I wouldn't even imagine this years ago. And
Yeah.
I'm very grateful. And it is through people watching the content, subscribing to the channel. So it is very much appreciated, and I don't just take it lightly. It's a lot of 200 plus videos on the channel, hours and hours of work. But
Yep.
I'm very appreciative with people who supported me, and like meeting people like you, other content guys. It's just, very, very fortunate in the situation I'm in. I don't take it lightly.
I've got to say that it's one of the things that I think Esk8 Con showed so many of us, which I think we realised that we're a community, but hadn't been face to face. So I think when we all got to Esk8 Con, it just added a huge new dimension to the whole environment of skateboarding, electric skateboarding. I mean, I'd just never seen so much camaraderie. Usually, in a lot of the chats on Facebook, there's a lot of argy-bargy and some blah 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 goes on, but there was none of that. It was all just, how you doing, shaking people's hands with people that I didn't even know, and people coming up to me saying hello, and you and everyone else, and people we'd seen online, and you did one particular amazing ride, which hopefully I get the opportunity to do that one with you guys next time round, which was just with that special crew. And those guys are, amazing. They are the icons. They are the OGs of the Esk8 community. And I pay homage to Jay, and Colorado Caddy and yourself and JW. I mean, a few of the crew that you went out with, and Fabi as well, were just such an awesome opportunity for you, to be with those crew of all those people that mean so much to the community. But wow, what a group of people to have at such a epic event.
Yeah, definitely.
Like me, believe it or not, I think I've got nearly 200 videos out there myself now, which is kind of crazy. But I being at the other end of the world like we're so far removed from the mainstream reality of Esk8 a lot of the times. It feels like sometimes it's forgotten down here, but then I remind myself of who we're lucky enough to have down here in Australia, really pushing boundaries and boards and riding and stuff. So I'm pretty fortunate on the other side. So that's pretty cool. So Thomas, I suppose you'll be back at Esk8 Con in 2024, without a shadow of a doubt.
Definitely.
I know there's probably, knowing yourself, there's more trips coming up in the next 6 to 12 months.
Nothing's necessarily planned as of yet, really. I'm toying. I need to do another big project at some point. I don't know what it's going to be. But yeah, I feel like I need to do another big project. But I think time of the year, I think it's mostly going to be just obviously doing content, lives, and reviews for the rest of the year. Playing with the idea of maybe a channel rebranding at some point. But we'll see about that. It's just something behind the scenes. I've got some stuff in the background I'm working on. But yeah, nothing like any more trips coming up in a while, as such. We have to do a bit of normal life for a little while, I think, before I start doing other trips. But you never know what's coming around the corner. I think what I'd like to do is, I think I might have liked to reach out to a few companies to see, especially in the Europe game, maybe, you got flux boards, you've also got obviously BioBoard, stuff like that, and see if I can visit some of those other factories as well, to get more of the European scene, because we've featured most of the European scene on the channel at this point, so maybe look at trying to do another one of those trips before the year's out. Probably might be a good idea.
Absolutely, that'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. I mean, I think one of the things that I suppose a lot of the e-skaters out there don't actually see is those factory realities of where they are, where they're located, the areas that they're riding in and they're building boards in and stuff. I mean, you don't get to see behind the scenes very often. I know I put a small video out about Transite, just only a very short video, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's so cool to see his factory." Really interesting to see what he's doing there, and some of the other
I don't
stuff.
know about you, but when I watch those, I'm like, wait, what's that in the background?
Transite had a mini board that I really want to play.
Yeah, exactly. I can't help it. Like, I used to do that. I remember I used to do a lot with the Evolve stuff, and I used to the amount of detail I look in videos is ridiculous. Like, I remember saying, wait, hold up, what's this yellow board at the back? What's this about? And I'd message Matt, and he'd be like, what's this? What's this? Oh, it's a prototype board we never done anything with. Oh, okay. Well, it's just fun to dig behind the scenes. But yeah, it's cool to see by the fact some of the things I was looking some of the companies before. I can't say some of them. We have some cool stuff coming from Monster in the future.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff actually that you won't see coming for a while. But yeah, there's some cool stuff coming from them. And then remember I went to Trampa and they had like this motor which was like this thick. It was like we just made that for the giggles. So it's cool. It's lucky to be trusted in those scenarios. That was years ago, so it's fine. But yeah, to be trusted in situations where I can get that insight because it's just fun to know about new things coming all the time.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I mean, I know when I was at EskatelCon, Fabi and I actually did a couple of rides together, and really, really tremendously like lovely guy. Gave me so much time over there. But we were talking one night, and he said, "Oh no, I've got a mountain board coming, and it's a bit like this and a bit like that." And I said, and he says, "No, that's it. I can't tell you
That's
anymore."
just as much as you can.
Yes, and it was really good. I mean, he gave me a hint that he was doing a mountain board, but and I sort of knew about the Velar, but I didn't because I knew nothing really about it. But it was just so nice to just give me a little bit of a taste, but he's keep it quiet, so zip it up, and uh, everything I've seen of that board so far is like really interesting. People are just loving it. I mean, there's a guy over in Dubai who's just smashing it at the moment, and I met him at where was it? The Evolve Open last year.
This guy, I've been. I can't really say it. It's Edgard. Yeah, him.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy, and he was so devastated he couldn't get to EskateCon last year, and I've already asked him if he's going to this one, and he said he's coming to this one. So I think he's a great rider, and he actually competed at the Evolve Open at Redlands at the BMX track. So good rider, nice, and just genuinely nice guy. So it'll
definitely.
be. I have heard Radium's going to try and get there too. From your interview, they said they're going to be there.
Yeah, they're going to send the top boy. You know his name, didn't you? What's his name?
Liam.
Liam. No, not Liam. The rider.
Oh, well, apparently they're all going to get there, but he was a skater boy, I think, is his title on Instagram. Dylan Bell.
Dylan, yeah. Oh my god, man.
Great rider.
Jeez.
Great.
Give him the technology, and he'll show what he can do. Yeah, he's an absolute beast.
I think if you just put a stooge board against some of the boys who ride stooge all the time, give him a couple of laps, he'll be.
You say that, but we haven't yet to see what this board can really do. So you never know.
Yeah, absolutely. And they said it's not a race board.
No, they're going to make a race board.
They're going to make a race.
It's the same. It's the same thing when I spoke to rave boards, and they're like, "Yeah, this is our board, but we want to do one a little bit fast." I'm like, "You're mental, honestly. What are you playing at?"
Well, I think Wraith have still got the high speed thing in mind. They want to have the record, I believe. So I think
they already have the world record, but they want to beat. For example, when I was speaking to Wraith, I was like,
it's not 90-mile-an-hour club, is it?
No, basically, what he wanted to do is he's upset that the gravity board beats his board, so he needs to go faster than gravity, so then no board can touch him. I was like, mate, like, I think he said on the stream, he said he wants to call it the Titan. Just like, oh my god! Like,
I'll wait and see. I think because they're not far off from releasing this short board, or they already released that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they already have the Rocket. I'm actually fortunate enough, and I'm hopefully meant to be getting one to feature because who knows, the world's fastest shortboarder. That's the thumbnail already, isn't it?
It writes itself, doesn't it?
Honestly, just ridiculous.
No, it's mental, absolutely mental. So I know, Thomas, I've already got the green light to go to EskatelCon myself, so I know that you and I will be meeting there where we're talking about what's going on, but we haven't actually got any details down. We'll be doing that in the coming months, hopefully. I suppose from your riding and your experience with the boards out there at the moment, do you think? And I'm gonna be honest. I'll be asking a lot of people who ride and race as well. Do you think that there's anything that can catch stooge at the next EskatelCon?
The community, because you don't know what's coming. There'll be someone who turns up with something that will come after them because now it's real. Competition makes things more engaging.
Have you got a racing league in the UK that is practicing for this or that does this, or are you?
Well, they're trying to incorporate a little bit with the intra speed stuff, but to be honest, I had a good chat with my friend about this the other day, which was European riding is different to American riding. So, for example, European riding is very much like tracks, like go-kart tracks, short, technical, fast, like kind of tracks. Less about top end, more about like really tight spaces.
Yep.
And that's our kind of demographic of what we do. And then the Stooge guys have that. They timed it by 2, so everything's like a lot faster, bigger banks, bigger corners. They're still turns, obviously.
Yeah.
But they seem to be less of not less of less. They seem to be more higher end, so you get those higher speeds. So the different demographics. So be interesting. I think if some of the guys are saying, it'd be interesting to see kind of Stooge riders in a really compact track to see how they perform. But everything's slightly different, you know what I mean, on what they are, what the demographic is. But I think I would die to see Tramper Squad come over to Eskate.con because I think it'd be such a wild card to see what they do, because they're untouchable with dirt, but they are pretty good on tarmac as well, definitely.
Yeah,
but
they
it's
are.
just their tool.
They are. Yeah, no, fair enough too. And I think you're right. That high speed acceleration out of corners and so forth it'd be a bit a few questions for them. Yeah, it's just something I'm being curious about. Now, Thomas, I know we've been going for 50 minutes, so we've got 10 minutes before I'm going to close this down. Is there something, I suppose, that you want to share at all from your riding, new, old, otherwise?
New World otherwise. Anything I want to share? I just think I think my biggest thing is I think this kind of, it's a bit of a not really positive thing, but I just want to mention it. It's this whole kind of compare this Esk8 hate on lying is not real in public. Like people being like, "You've got that. This is bad. People need to stop this unnecessary grief in each other about what people ride and what not, and just bring it back to the fundamentals a lot." Because I feel like a lot of forums is like, this is the worst thing ever. I think probably is people have an emotional attachment, obviously, with the boards and what they give you. So if you threaten that, it's personal, I think.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
think we need to kind of celebrate why we all ride and actually collectively work to actually getting more exposure to make things easier for everyone, really.
Yep, absolutely. No, it's a real thing to be, I suppose, commenting on. I mean, there's enough hate in the world, there's enough stress in the world, and we don't need more. And collectively, our sport, hobby, passion, whatever you want to call it, or addiction, as I call it, it's about switching off and having fun and being around people who are like-minded and enjoying ourselves. So, one of the things that I suppose I push when we're talking about Esk8 here is just shut up and ride. Just
Yeah, exactly.
leave all the crap outside, shut up and ride and enjoy.
If you're on a forum talking smack, then you're not riding enough.
That's right. That's right. Get out of mum's basement and get out there and ride.
Exactly.
So Thomas, I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions. Famous wheel at the moment, or favorite wheel at the moment? I know I asked this a while ago, but favorite wheel.
Well, like as in tire, well,
tires, wheels. Yep.
My recent review, I did the I Wonder Rovers. They are a sick wheel. I really like them. Like honestly, people say like, "Oh, here we go." So like, honestly, that backfire on those Rovers is a naughty setup. So yeah, I love that. Love that wheel at the moment.
Favorite deck. Favorite deck. Your favorite deck.
Favorite
carbon fiber, bamboo.
Carbon fiber.
You love carbon fiber?
Yes.
So the traditional evolved style deck is your favorite still?
Oh, the deck from there. Oh, actually, no. My favorite deck of all time is the Hoyt UAV, which I can't have. Yeah. That's the one. That's my favorite one.
Burns. That still burns.
It burns deep.
And I've got to say, last thing is, do you have a favorite brand, or are you just a lover of all Eskate, or is it BioBoards all the way for you still?
Every board has its own. Every company and board has its own demographic. Yep. Favorite brand. I wouldn't say a favorite brand because they're all different demographics. I think any company that is, like I said, the high end, small individuals pushing what's possible is my favorite brand. You know, that's my favorite brand.
Yep. I asked someone that the other day, and it's the reason I ask it here is I asked someone the other day, and they said the one I'm riding today.
That's a good answer.
And I was like, I can't argue with that. That is so on point.
That's a political answer.
That's right. That's exactly right. All right, Thomas, I am going to pull the pin on this. Thank you so much for joining us for our first episode of
me, bro.
It has been an absolute and utter pleasure. And I got to say, don't forget, every week from now on, unless something horrible happens, which I'm assuming it's not going to anymore because I've gone through my 3 bad lucks, we'll be back in every week. And stay tuned for the next episode.
That's a commitment, then. That's a commitment.
Yeah, here it comes.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you got your fix. All the details and links will be in the show notes, and remember to subscribe so you never miss a thing. Be sure to leave a like and a review, as it's always a huge help. Please follow Eskate Oz on your socials and give our host a follow as well. Until next time, stay upright and keep smiling.